Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping by to check out another one of my real estate tutorial videos. So today I'm going to talk about how to easily inspect your potential new home prior to even putting in the offer. So most of you know that when you purchase a home, once you're under contract, you do get the opportunity to hire an independent contractor to inspect the property. It usually takes anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, and you can do this once you're under contract, but you can actually inspect the home yourself with your realtor when you're walking through the property. If you're interested in it, there's a lot of things that you can do just visually to inspect it, know better what you're getting into when purchasing this home and making the offer. Another great reason to inspect the home prior to making an offer is it's a great way to negotiate on the price. So if you make a list of concerns or issues that you spotted when walking through the property and you're wanting to make an offer that's not at list price or above the list price, if you present some issues with your below list price offer, that's a great way to negotiate on the purchase price or negotiate with the seller and ask them to pay some of your closing costs because you're going to be using that money to make those repairs that you found when walking through the property. So those are some great reasons to do this inspection prior to making the offer. And then speaking to sellers, it's a great opportunity for you to go through this checklist that I'm going to give you prior to listing your property. And just know that these are things that buyers are going to be looking at and spotting when walking through your home. So it's a great way to get your home ready to list. So with our team, on the Kwasny team, Ryan takes most of our clients through the properties when doing showings. So with his background in home construction and flipping homes, he offers a wealth of knowledge. So what he does with our clients is way more in depth than what I'm going to go through today. But these are just some really simple steps and easy things you can do as you walk through a property that you're thinking about making an offer on. So one thing to keep in mind is if you're working with a realtor, what we can also do is we can take these lists of concerns to the listing agent prior to making the offer, and we can gather more information for you, whether it's wanting to know age of things or the status of something. It's just another great way that we can make a list as we walk through the property. So number one, that would be when you're walking around the exterior prior to entering the property, you want to make sure, first of all, that you see the property during the day, because then we can get a look at the roof. We're going to look for signs of damage such as curling shingles or missing shingles, just obvious things that would lead us to believe that maybe the roof isn't doing so well and will maybe need to be repaired. That's a big ticket item, so we would definitely want to know that prior to making an offer. Another thing we can do is we can visually look at the windows, see what kind of condition those are in. That's another big ticket item. We want to make sure the windows are good. And then you can also look at the siding. So especially if it's cedar siding, we want to see, is that siding starting to rot? Is there flaking paint? Sometimes you'll see holes in the siding or even missing areas of siding where water can potentially penetrate through and cause issues. So we want to take a good look around the outside of the house at all of those things. Then once we enter the property, we're going to want to stop and make sure that you're looking up at the ceiling. So if you couldn't see any signs of potential damage from the outside, a lot of times you can see areas where there might be leak points if there's discoloration. We'll also want to look at cracks on the ceiling. So that's another great thing. A lot of times people forget to look up at the ceilings when they're walking around. It can be very distracting with all the furniture and decor and other things that you want to look at when you're viewing a home, but make sure to stop in each room and look up at the ceiling to see what's going on there. And then you'll also want to stop in each room and look at the slope of the floors. Are there any cracks in the floors? Is there any sloping that might lead us to believe there's some structural issues? So keep in mind to stop in each room, check out the floors. You can usually feel any unevenness and check out the ceilings in each room. Then another one is we can also look at the windows from the inside. So a lot of times people will have window coverings, drapes, curtains, blinds. You'll want to push those aside. Make sure you get a good look at each window. And if you're feeling really ambitious, maybe open up a few or all of the windows. Inspectors are going to go around and open up every single window, or they should when they're doing your inspection. But it's just a great way to know if there's any issues with any of the windows in the home. Then you're going to want to look at, checking out the water pressure. So a really easy way to check out and get a good idea if the plumbing is doing okay and the water pressure is to go in the kitchen and each bathroom. You're going to want to turn on the showers, turn on the faucets, flush the toilets. that's just a really good thing to do, and something that people don't always think about. If you've got an unfinished basement, someone can go down in the basement while another person is up in the kitchen and the bathrooms turning on all the water, and they can look for any active leaks. I've actually seen this happen many times when walking through properties, especially older homes. So that's a great practice to find any leak points in the home while the water is running. And then you're going to want to know the age of the furnace, the air conditioning unit, and the water heater. So what you can do is, a lot of times there are manufacturer tags on all of these items. They will give you the year of the manufacturer. That doesn't mean that's exactly when it was installed, but that will give you an idea of how old those major mechanicals are. And then it's really great if we see, usually there's a sticker with service records. So if the seller has been maintaining those major mechanicals, the furnace, the AC, the water heater, they'll have service records actually posted with a sticker on the item there. So you can see the age of those. Again, if we can't, you can always ask your agent to contact the listing agent and find that out for you, but that's a great thing to know prior to making an offer. And then another big thing before you head to the basement, if there is one, is to look into the kitchen more. So you can open up all of the appliances. First of all, you want to open up the fridge and freezer and make sure that they're both staying really cold, so that you'd know, for the most part, the fridge and freezer are working. You can open up the dishwasher, check it out, see if it seems like it's been used recently. And then you also want to make sure you turn on all of the burners on the stove. So that's a great way to make sure at least that is working. Want to make sure all of the appliances in the kitchen are working. And then something that you may not have thought of when you're in the kitchen and bathrooms is to open up the cabinets underneath the sink in the kitchen and the vanity underneath the sink in the bathrooms, and look to see if there's an area where you can see underneath the plumbing of the sink. You can tell if there's any active or previous leaks ongoing in the kitchen and bathrooms. And then lastly, when you head to the basement, there's a few things to keep in mind when you're in basements, especially if they're unfinished. You want to look at the foundation, see what you can visibly see, if there's any cracking, if there's any bowing. Those are signs of, potential major issues with the foundation. If they've got windows in the basement, you can look to see if there's signs of current leaking or past leaking coming from where those windows are, any cracks coming through where the windows are. And then you also want to pay attention to the perimeter of the basement. So a lot of times you can see if there was previous water damage by looking to see if there's discoloration coming up from the floor, maybe an inch or a few inches even above the floor. Look around the perimeter. And then another telltale sign that there may have been water damage or flooding or current seepage going on, if the washer and dryer and the furnace are lifted up off of the floor. That's a good sign that maybe the current owner has water issues down there in the basement and they don't want them to ruin their washer and dryer and furnace. And then if there is a lot of storage down there, but it's all lifted up on shelves so that it's not touching the floor, that's, potentially a good indicator that there are some issues down there. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, we'd love to give you this full checklist and go through your home with you, whether it's a new home that you're purchasing or a home that you're selling, and make sure that anything visible is taken care of, help you negotiate with these items on your new home purchase. So this is Vanessa Kwasny with the Kwasny Team at Century 21 Affiliated. Thanks so much for watching and stopping by my YouTube channel.